President Biden touched on immigration during his first ever address to a joint session of Congress last night. He called on lawmakers to help end the war over immigration by passing reform. He specifically noted securing protections for dreamers. The president did not talk about what's being done to address the record number of unaccompanied minors illegally crossing the southern border. Joining us now from the southern border in Texas is CBS News immigration reporter Camilo Montoya-Galvez. Hi, Camilo. Great to see you. So what has been the overall response to the president's comments last night on immigration?
Hi, Tanya. We are right here on the banks of the Rio Grande that divide the United States and Mexico, which you can actually see right behind me. And this is really the epicenter, Tanya, of a record number of unaccompanied migrant children entering U.S. border custody. Nearly 19,000 unaccompanied children were apprehended in March. That is an all-time record high. And as we speak right now, Tanya, there are more than 20,000 unaccompanied children in U.S. federal custody across the board. However, as you mentioned, President Biden did not address this issue during his address to Congress last night. He focused his immigration remarks on urging lawmakers to pass legalization bills that would place undocumented immigrants, including dreamers and farm workers, on a pathway to U.S. citizenship, and on addressing the root causes of migration from Central America, which, as you know, include gang violence, poverty, and food insecurity, especially in the country of Guatemala. Senator Mark Kelly from Arizona, a Democrat, said that he did not feel that President Biden had a plan to fix what he called the border crisis here on the U.S.-Mexico border.
And so, Camilo, you have been able to see this with your own eyes. You've been covering the situation at the border for a while now. Do you feel, based on what you are seeing with your reporting, that the president is addressing the most immediate concerns of immigration there on the southern border?
That's the key question right now, Tanya. I can tell you that the Biden administration has continued to expel most adult migrants and some families back to Mexico under this Trump-era Title 42 policy, but they are processing all unaccompanied children under regular immigration laws and transferring them as required by anti-trafficking laws to the Department of Health and Human Services. So now they are scrambling to house these children in shelters overseen by HHS, as well as makeshift facilities in convention centers in San Diego, San Antonio, and Dallas, work camps in West Texas, and other facilities like military sites operated by the Pentagon. So we know that the administration is making several efforts to try to house these unaccompanied children, but is still turning most migrants without any sort of due process, and again, without allowing them to make a case for asylum here on U.S. soil.
So clearly a lot still needs to be teased out and done when it comes to what's going on at the southern border. But one thing the president did talk about and express his support for is the situation of dreamers, which is a little different from, the immigration that you're covering there on the southern border. Have you heard any reaction to his support for making dreamers citizens?
Yes, his remarks on this topic, Tanya, were really interesting because, as you know, President Biden earlier this year introduced a sweeping bill that would legalize most of the 11 million undocumented immigrants in the U.S., including dreamers, immigrants who came to the U.S. as children. However, he did say that even if Republicans did not support this policy, they should be supporting other standalone bills that place dreamers, farm workers, and temporary protected status holders on a pathway to U.S. citizenship. And those bills have already passed the House with some Republican support. So this may be a sign, Tanya, that the president is shifting his strategy and is open to supporting standalone bills to legalize some of the undocumented immigrants in the country, realizing that Republicans are unlikely to support a major immigration reform right now.
Right. Yeah, Camilo, considering how thorny the entire immigration issue is, it might be worth it to tease out separate bills that do already seem to have some Republican support. Is the White House finally coming around to this realization?
Yes, I think so. And something that some advocates and some Democrats are supporting is for President Biden to actually back the inclusion of legalization provisions for Dreamers, TPS holders, and farm workers in its infrastructure package. So to use the reconciliation procedure that bypasses the Senate filibuster rules that require normally a 60-vote threshold to pass the Senate. And so that has been a controversial move among some Republicans who do not think that legalizing some undocumented immigrants should be part of any infrastructure package, but that is a move that certainly some progressives and some advocates are supporting right now.
All right, Camilo Montoya-Galvez there in Mission, Texas. Thank you so much for your great reporting from the border. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Tanya.